Are you a lazy quilter like me, or sometimes you just don't want to match seams? Well, today I have 5 quilts that I'm going to share with you where there's no seam matching at all. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe. Are you a new quilter and you're having trouble getting all of your seams to match just so? Or maybe you're an experienced quilter and you're just ready to get a quilt done for that special gift or something like that. Well, today I have 5 quilts I'm going to share with you that actually have no seams to match at all, which would be perfect for the new quilter so that you can have that success, or really perfect for that really fast gift. So let's go check out that first quilt. Now this is Broad Strokes, and this is a great pattern if you don't want to match any seams. And it also has some other great qualities too. So first, this is made in rows, as you can see here. We have our alternate block here, which is simply strip pieced. And do you see how these are offset? Well, because they're offset, that means there's no seams to match, and it's going to go together so quickly. The other great part about this quilt is we have a nice big block to feature a beautiful focus fabric, and you can use directional on this. So let's get it on the table and look at this just a little bit closer. I have some pieces and parts for you for our broad strokes so you can see exactly what I mean about those no matching seams. So let's start with our main block. So our main block is simply a rectangle that is cut out of our focus fabric. I'm going to lay that on here, and so far so good, and no seams to match because this is just a rectangle. So simple. All right, now guys, don't forget that when we do our pieces and parts, we do have our seam allowance on here still, and that's why it looks just a little bit bigger than it does on the quilt. All right, then I have a second main block that we're going to put right here, and I'm going to lay this down, and please notice, do you see how these kind of stagger? That is a part of the charm on this quilt. Now let's do the alternate block. Now when we're doing the alternate block, we're going to be making a strip piece. And when you strip piece, you know that we're going to sew our with the fabric strips together, and then we're just going to cut off a piece. And then this is what creates our alternate block. So as you can see here, this is going to go just like this. That's going to be sewn to the side of this main block. And once again, we are staggered, so no seams to match. And this has no seams to match because it's strip pieced. All right, and then we have another one right here. We will put it right here. Is this not the coolest thing ever? We've just got it all in a row, very simple piecing. This is going to zip together just like that. All right, let's look at this fabric because you're probably looking at these pieces and parts going, ooh, I want to know about that fabric. So here we have our focus fabric. Gorgeous peach here with these beautiful florals, a little folk arty, which I kind of like. Very charming, and as you can see, this is going to go together beautifully. So this peach is our main rectangular block here. Then our number 2 is this kind of off-white with little tiny little flowers on it. And it's all the different colors in our focus fabric. Really, really charming. You can see how this is going to go in our alternate block and just really create that sweet whimsy. Then our number 3 is a great textural green that has some really nice design on it. It's very much a tone on tone, but as you can see here, you're just getting a peek of that in that little spot there, and it coordinates so well with our focus. All right, this is a fantastic kit. Now I want to tell you guys something. We always post these kits when we post our videos, and they go fast. So you want to go to fabriccafe.com, look at the new kits on our website, and be sure and get those quickly because there are limited quantities. And you can see how wonderful that peach looks in between those green strips and the white. It goes together just beautiful. And love the green and how it totally frames the quilt. And as you can see, no matching seams, and it's going to go together in a jiffy. All right, let's get you the kit information. This kit is called Floral Blush. The name of the pattern is Broad Strokes, and it is from our Quilts on the Double book. Now this is our balance quilt, and this is another great quilt to do if you don't want to match seams. So I want to point that out just for a minute to make sure that you understand what I mean, because it's really a great thing. So as you can see that these blocks are offset from the row below. And is right here is the corner of our block, and you can see how it goes in the middle of this one here. There's not that seam on the corner that you're matching. And of course, whenever you do this little bordered block here, there's no seams to match there either. So because these are offset, when you put your rows together, you're not having to match those corners. So it makes it super easy. Now this pattern is great too, because there's so much movement in the way that it's put together, almost like these little blocks are stacked on top of each other. So let's get it on the table. Got some great fabric, and we've done some more pieces and parts for you. So let's take a look at this. Now the first thing that we're going to make is our main block here that is bordered by the yellow on this quilt, but it's going to be bordered with the red on our pieces and parts here. Now I just want to point out, and hopefully you can see this, but as you can see, these are just strips that have been sewn to the side here. There's no matching here, so that's really great. Now I'm going to move this over and place it on top of where it is here. All right, I've got one more. I'm going to put it right down here. Now when I'm placing these, you see how these are staggered? In normal quilts, these would be corner to corner like this, and so you would have to match this seam. But in this case, they're staggered, so you're not matching them, which makes it so easy. Okay, now let's look at our alternate blocks here. Very simple. We have just a rectangle that is placed in our row horizontally. Once again, we're not matching here, we're not matching here. And yet another one. Now what is really interesting about this quilt is we have our rectangles, we have our bordered block here, and then on the end we have a smaller rectangle that goes here. Now do you see what I mean? We have no matching here, no matching here. These rows are going to go together. It is going to be so fast. And if you're a beginner, this is a really dynamic quilt, and it's going to be one of those that everyone's going to go, wow, how did you do that? And it just is going to go together so great and so fast. You're going to love it. All right, let's look at this fabric because it is super cute. All right, we have our wonderful nurse hats, and I love that it's in the black and the white and the red. And as you can see, we're going to be making our main block with that is bordered with our number 3 fabric. And it's also going to have just a little bit on the border to really bring those happy hats in there. All right, then we have our number 2, which is a white with a gray dot. You can see it's in our alternate block that are our rectangles, and this little rectangle block here. And then our number 3 is the great red with the stars that matches our nurse hats right here so perfectly, bordering each of the blocks. And then we're going to have a little bit on the border that's going to frame it really well. All right, let's show you that image so that you can see how much fun this fabric goes in the balance quilt. And if you're making a gift for someone special, this is going to be a really easy one to do, and you can see what a great pop this has with that red. Kit information on this one is called Healing Hats. This is our balance pattern from the book Quilts on the Double. Okay, so you know that 3-yard quilts are super fast. We all know that. And they're also super versatile, which means any 3 1-yard cuts can go into any pattern. So I'm going to show you another variation of balance here in a different fabric, and it works so perfectly well. So we have this fun kind of square to square fabric right here as our focus fabric. It is a smaller print, and it is going to go in the center of our main little block here. Now, I like this in this. The reason why I like a textured fabric in this pattern is because there's so much interest with the stacked blocks that something like this works really, really well. So we've got that right here as well as a little on the border. Then our number 2 is this great white with some movement. It's a tone on tone, so it's going to go in the background and it's going to give you a little extra interest when you get up close to that quilt and give you lots of pop from the focus and the 3. Then we have our number 3 fabric, which is kind of a mottled kind of red that picks up all of our tones in our focus. This is what is going to be bordering our focus block, as well as a little bit on the edge here. And it's going to give us a lot of pop so that whenever you make your quilt, because you know it's going to go together super fast with no matching seams, it's going to work really well. Now, the balance pattern as well as the broad strokes pattern is from our book Quilts on the Double. Now, as I mentioned, any 3 yards works in any 3-yard quilt pattern, so it's a really great deal for you. I've got a really good one. You buy 3 kits, you can have the book for free, and you get to choose which book you like. So there's 8 patterns in here. There's all kinds of good stuff, and 2 of these patterns have no seams to match, so why wouldn't you get it? So really, really super. All right, let's look at the image of this one so that you can see how great it goes together. It's so much fun. It's got a lot of interest with those little squares inside the other little squares inside your quilt. It's really great. Love how the red really, really pops, and that movement with all of those stacked blocks just really is interesting. Okie doke, the kit information on this one, it is called Retro Vibes. It is the balance quilt from the book Quilts on the Double. Now the next quilt I'd like to share with you that has no matching seams is Lickity Split. And this one is made really cool. We have a rectangular block here, and the reason why there's no matching seams is because we put it together in a vertical row with a sashing strip. So the sashing helps to divide this so that you don't have to worry about these matching perfectly. So let's get it on the table and check out the fabric. All right, we have our Lickity Split on the table here with some darling, darling fabric. For our focus on this particular kilt, we have all of these fun sewing tools. And you know, whenever I was a kid, I used to do all kinds of things. I'd crochet, I learned to knit, I made Barbie clothes. You know, little girls always do that, and that's what this makes me think of, is all those fun things we used to do. I even love the fact that we have some little embroidery displayed here in the hoops. I think it's super cute. Now this is our focus fabric. It's going to go everywhere you see the cats here. And then for our number 2, we have a really fun button print. All of these little buttons on here that are acting like a polka dot, but they're buttons, button polka dot. And it picks up all the buttons in our focus fabric. That is going to be everywhere you see the blue. So we're going to have a rectangle of our focus and a rectangle of our number 2 with the buttons on it, and these go together. Now for the number 3, and what makes this so special with no matching seams, we are going to be using this pink as our sashing, which is right here. And what we're going to be doing with this is we just cut our strips with the fabric, sew them end to end, and then we're going to sew them on the side here. So there's no seam that we're going to match across. And if these are just slightly off, you're not going to notice because this is going to break it up. So this is a super pattern if you need something fast. If you're a beginner and want to be super successful, this is a great one to do. Now our number 3 is also going to be on the border. Now this quilt is made in a vertical row. Now we call them vertical rows here at Fabric Cafe. I know a lot of you prefer to call them columns, and it's basically the same thing. So these are made in columns or these are made in vertical rows, either way. And if you love to do quilts that are made in columns or vertical rows, be sure to check out the video that pops up. There's a lot of good ones in there. All right, let's check out the image of this quilt because it is super cute. I love the pink in this, and I love the way the buttons just sprinkle all over the quilt surface and all of those really fun needlework tools there. So nice frame with that pink as well. All right, the kit information on this one, it is called So Delightful. This is our Lickity Split pattern from the book Fast and Fun. Now this one is Dash, and it's a little sneaky. It doesn't look like you're not going to be matching seams, but there's no seams to match. So we have got this a great little block here with a little peekaboo block right here. There is no matching seams for any of this, and it really creates this fun dynamic quilt, and it is definitely a go-to for us here at Fabric Cafe because it is so easy to put together and so fast. I have some pieces and parts here with this darling fabric, and I can't wait to tell you about this fabric, but I'm going to show you the pieces and parts first. All right, this is the first block we're going to do. It is simply a square, and it's so simple, right? It's just a square, and we're going to alternate those. You see that here. And then we have a really fun alternate block. Now this is that alternate block right here. I'm going to move this over so you can see how this alternate block is made. I'm going to do a little folding trick here. We're going to fold this back and we're going to fold this back so that you can see this. What this is just a strip piece that we have done 3 strips of fabric with the fabric, sewn them together on their long edges, and then cut off a unit. After we make that unit with these 3 pieces, we are then going to come in and sew 2 strips to the side. And what this does is it keeps anything from matching within here. So it keeps it super fast. So I'm going to place this here, and this goes beside here. And then we have another one that I can put here. And then our number 3 fabric will go here. Now, remember we talked about on some of those other patterns how these are staggered, these blocks are staggered, and that's what keeps you from matching your corners of your blocks. Well, we have even a better way of doing that, or even another way of doing that, I should say, because this is really super simple when they're staggered. We are going to add that sashing piece. Now, when we put our rows together here, alternating our blocks, then we're going to come back when we sew our rows together and just put this sashing strip in between. And that is what is going to keep you from matching any corners whatsoever. So simple, so fast, so easy to do. So, and it doesn't look simple. It looks like you really put a lot into it and really were careful. But you can put this together in a jiffy. All right, let's look at this fabric because this is darling. These little guys all over this focus fabric. Guys, these animals, the frog, the raccoon, the bear, the bunny, they're all doing yoga. Is that not the cutest thing in the world? You're going to save so much time quilting that you get to go to yoga class here. So this is so fun. I just love it. And it's going to go everywhere the gray is on this quilt. So every other big block will be these fun critters doing yoga, and of course on the border. Now, as our number 2, as you can see here, it's a nice textural beige, which picks up all of our colors and our animals in our focus print. And that's going to be the sashing as well as the alternate block here. And then our number 3, this kind of fun, dark green that picks up our froggy color, as well as some of the other colors in here. That is going to be our little block, our alternate block, and a little bit on the border, just the binding there, just to frame it out nicely. So stinking cute. So cute. Love this fabric. And this, like I said, go-to pattern for Fabric Cafe because we love making this one because it is so easy, so fast, and looks so complicated. All right, let's look at that image because it is so cute. And you can see here how those little animals just bring the quilt to life, and they're just stretching and moving. And that green gives us a nice anchor, all framed out with that beige, so it almost looks like those blocks are floating on the surface. So very fun. All right, this kit information, it is called Forest Yoga. It is our dash pattern from the book Easy Peasy. All right, now this is our topiary pattern, and it's a little sneaky too. You don't really expect how it's made this way. It's so neat. Now, this is another one that we are making in a vertical rows or columns, whatever your preference is. We have our rows here with our blocks just kind of turning so that it creates some neat interest. And then we have a sashing piece that is put in vertically, so it keeps us from matching any seams whatsoever. All right, let's check out some fun fabric. I first want to step through why this is just a little bit sneaky and unexpected, and there's no matching seams. So I have some pieces and parts here, some really fun fabric, very bright and sunshiny. So the first thing we're going to do to make our blocks for our rows is we're going to have just a square that we're going to cut. Then we're going to sew a strip on top. So we basically have square and strip. Then we're going to come back and sew another strip to the side. So here there is no matching seams whatsoever because we're just sewing strips and cutting them even. Very simple. Now we're going to put this down. And how this is put together is we've taken these blocks and rotated them. So I'm going to put this one here. Here it is, just like that. Now once again, seam allowances are included on these. All right, then here is our second block. Now what's really cool about this pattern too is you can use a double focus, which is kind of cool. You can have 2 focus prints. And that's what we've done here. We've kind of mimicked our yellow with our blue. Once again, we have just simply a square with a strip sewn on top. We're going to cut that even. Then we're going to sew another strip to the side and cut that even. Then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these around and then sew them together in a row. And do you see what happens when you rotate that block and you join these borders on the block? It creates that really cool kind of traveling pattern in that vertical motion. But here, really, there's no matching seams because the last step is the sashing strip. Now we have our great sashing with our number 3 fabric. We're going to put this here, and that is going to keep any of these seams from these blocks from matching the seams on these blocks. This just gives you a nice divider. You're going to sew this on, trim it up top and bottom, and it's going to go together in no time at all and create a really interesting pattern for your quilt. Really love this one. All right, let's look at our fabric. This is fun fabric. Talk about sunshine. I'm so ready for summer and the sunshine. Are you ready for summer? I'm ready for summer. And this really makes me think about that because it does look like sunshine. All of these great circles with all these dots radiating out from the circle. This is our focus fabric, and as you can see, it's going to go everywhere the larger floral is on this quilt, and it's going to be alternated to create that design. Then we have our white that's going to really give us a nice border that runs vertically in our columns here and really pops off of our focus. And then our number 3 with the blue and the yellow. I love this combination. And summery. I'm so ready for summer. Not 110, but definitely ready for summer. So this is, of course, going to be another block alternated with our focus block, as well as our sashing that's going to create that fun design with no matching seams whatsoever. All right, let's check out the image for this one. It is great. We have that wonderful yellow creating that nice movement in that vertical direction, as well as our blue, and then it's all bordered with our fabric number 3, so it really frames it nicely. Really a fun quilt. All right, this kit information on this quilt, it is called Sunny Days. This is our Topiary pattern from the book Magic of 3-Yard Quilts. So I'm curious, how are you feeling about our patterns with no matching seams? Did any of them surprise you? Be sure and let me know in the comments if they did. Now, if you're a beginner, we've got some great options here. And if you would like some more ideas for beginning quilters, be sure to check out the video that pops up. It's Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe. Happy quilting!